Hello, welcome to Healing with podcast. I am Marissa McDevitt, your host, mindset coach, mentor, and founder of Healing Center. Tired of all the BS? So was I. This podcast is my raw, unfiltered take on life, sharing my personal experiences, lessons, and healing practices that helped me break free from the cycles that no longer serve me. I'm just an average woman who decided to stop settling and start speaking up. Here we dive deep into the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of life, business, and relationships. No fluff, no judgment, just real talk, real growth, and real transformation. This is a safe space for anyone, women, men, and all the beauties in between. So who's ready to raise their standards, heal, and step into their power? Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Now tune in and let's talk about it. Fast forward, I finally decided, hey, I miss her so much that if you want to be with a deadbeat drug addict, crack smoking cheater that can't hold a job, fine. But I want my sister back. I miss my best friend. So we ended up talking again. And him and I actually had a really good moment where he apologized to me and we cried together. And we really tried to make the friendship work. And at that time, he was actually doing good. I think he had a vehicle, or if he didn't, he actually had a job and he was actually paying half the rent and actually helping, being a man. So I was really excited for her, and I was just happy to have her back. They ended up getting they moved into a trailer, and she got pregnant. That was her dream. I remember being there when she took the pregnancy test and it being positive. And I went out and bought 3 more tests. Made her pee on them. In the next few days, she was pregnant. And I had to talk with her. She was excited. Of course, it's been her lifelong dream. But I said, hey, he barely has a job. Are you willing to be a single mom if it comes down to it? And she said, I don't care what it takes. Being a single mom or whatnot, I'm going to have this baby. Okay. So here she is, pregnant. And he starts making all these other promises. Oh, when the baby comes, I'm going to get a vehicle. I'm going to quit smoking cigarettes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You can guess what happened and what didn't happen. So here's her illusion of stability. She's got a little house. She's pregnant. She's got the guy, even though he's not providing at all. This is what she's always wanted. So she has the baby. Of course, he doesn't quit smoking cigarettes. Still can't hold a job for longer than a year. Still on and off with being able to provide for his family, put food on the table. Complaining about taking care of the baby. You name it, it was happening. But she didn't care. She did not care. She thought this illusion of stability, she thought this was an illusion of a family. But all by herself, she bought a house. She was so happy. And I was proud of her. I mean, she did it all by herself. She's had a job, the same job for years. She moved up and up and up in the company. She's worked hard. She did it. So she finally got the house. She got the baby. She has the guy, even though he's unstable, jobless, broken cars, disappearing, partying, whatever. From the outside, she's got it all. But on the inside, what a mess. And she knew it too. That's why she smoked so much weed. To suppress all the emotion, to suppress all the stress. Because she knows that deep down, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't real love. This isn't real family. It's far from it. But she keeps lying to herself. So they get the house, and a little while goes by, and he takes off. Of course, goes on a bender with his brother for a week. Doesn't come home, doesn't call her, quits his job. Got enough money so now he could go on a crack bender for a week. And I finally got the phone call. She's gonna leave him. She calls me, I'm gonna leave him. I'm finally doing it. He hasn't been home for a week. He doesn't care about me or our child. How could he do this? And I'm like, yeah, girl. I said, he's been smoking crack for a long time. He can't hold a job. He can't hold a vehicle. He can't provide for the family. He chooses drugs over you multiple times. Please leave him. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. All right. So we're all excited for her. Then he comes back, and she takes him back and says, if you ever do this again, I'm going to leave you. Okay. It's like, whatever. You know what? Like, I get it. It happens. People relapse. Whatever. Give him a second chance because she always believes that he can change. From then, still can't hold a job. Still jobless, broken cars, smoking cigarettes. But she stays with him. She suppresses her emotions with the weed. Keeps going to work. I mean, it's got to be exhausting. So he ends up in the hospital again because he was drinking and doing crack and messed his whole body up. And of course, he doesn't admit to her that he does crack. She thinks that it's just from the drinking, why he's so messed up and in the hospital being sick, but it's because of all of it. So he quits drinking for like over a year, I think it was. And he proposes to her during this time. And it starts to look really good. It starts to look on the outside that he's actually doing it. And then I find out he has no job, no car, and he isn't doing it. But after the proposal, I was so excited. I sent her a wedding planning book. I was like ready. I mean, we've been planning this out for years, her wedding. I was so excited until I found out he had no job, hadn't paid rent in months, hadn't put food on the table in months. But all he could keep saying is, I'm not drinking. But he still somehow had cigarettes all the time. If you have no money, how do you have cigarettes all the time? He's never had a phone bill because he couldn't afford one. So he uses Wi-Fi. I mean, you name it, it's like, how many red flags? So they were supposed to get married in 2 years after the engagement. They ended up doing it in 1 year. So I call her mom because she's like my mom too. And I say, hey, what is going on? I'm like, he has no job again. She's like, I know. I said, so I don't believe he deserves her hand in marriage. And she said, we don't either. So I'm like, okay, so all of us agree she should not marry him. Why are you're paying for it? I said, why are you continuing this? She said, because B wants this and we have to support her. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. But whatever. So I'm like, okay. Instead of me pulling back, let's try to lean in, right? Let's try to lean in. So I'm going to give him 3 months of coaching. At this time, I was finishing a life coaching program and mentorship, a conscious coaching. It's holistic healing and coaching. And I decided to give him 3 free months of coaching because maybe I could help. Maybe I could get him on track so I could at least stand up in their wedding and be proud. of her and be happy for her and at least have some decency towards the person she's marrying. So at this point, I'm frustrated. He has no job, no car, the same cycle repeating, but instead of reacting in anger like I used to, I decided to lean in to the tools I had been learning in school for life coaching and mentorship. I thought maybe if I could give him support, guidance, and accountability he's never had, things could change. So I offered him 3 full months of free coaching. I didn't charge him a thing. I wanted to give him my time, my energy, my tools. I wanted to see if I could commit him to his own growth. This wasn't about me fixing him. It was about giving him a chance to show up differently. And for 3 months, I coached him. I gave him exercises, accountability check-ins, mindset work, and everything I had been studying and applying in my own life. But what I realized was, if someone doesn't truly want to change, no matter how much amount of coaching, love, or support, you can't want it more than they do. And that was my breaking point. I realized I couldn't carry this for him. I couldn't keep enabling my best friend's choice to marry a man who wasn't showing up for himself, let alone their own child. And in those 3 months, he did get a couple jobs. He did buy her vehicle, her old vehicle, from her, and she went and bought a new one. And he started working again. But those 3 jobs went to 2, and then to 1. And it was the same pattern, like always. But you know what? I still had hope for both of them. I personally was in debt. I was in debt because I decided to go to school. I decided to try to work day shifts instead of night. I quit working weekends to be with my partner. That messed me up financially. Even though my partner was helping me a little bit financially here and there, I still was going into debt more and more and more. Taking out loans just to eat. Not even eat because my partner paid for all the groceries, but just to live, survive, I had to take out loans. I took out school loan. I took out loans to live. And it was like 6 months. The whole time I was in school, I took out loans to live. I paid back my school, but I still had, I think it was like eight grand in loans that I took out. And I was making like maybe $100 a day. I was working 3 or 4 days a week. It was not good. But I was still going to come up here and be in my friend's wedding because I was the maid of honor and I was going to show up for her no matter what. So I talked to my partner. I took out another loan. I took out 5 G's. I took out enough money to drive up here for the summer. I took out enough money to support the bachelorette party. I took out enough money to buy all my wedding stuff. I took out enough money to host a fun after party for her wedding. I took out enough money to support myself for a month of being here because I was going to be here. This is my friend of 18 years. I was going to do this wedding big for her. This is her life goal. We're going to do this. It doesn't matter. I can make that money back. I'll pay that money back. That to me did not matter. I would have took out 10 G's if I had to be there to support my best friend of 18 years. This was her dream. So I drove up here. Rearranged my whole life. Separated from my partner. Not like broken up, but, I'm away from my partner right now. And he agreed. He understood how much I love her. That he said, okay, go be with your friends. Go make money up there. Because I know everybody up here. I can make more money up here while I'm up here. I'm staying with my good friend right now. That's where I am here right now. And everything was lined up. I surprised her for her bridal shower. She didn't know I was going to be here. I was going to be there for the bachelorette, the wedding, and then I was going to leave after, go back home to Arizona, be with my hubby, my future husband. I was so excited. I was planning everything in my head. I put it on paper. I was going to plan the best after party. I was so excited about the bachelorette. I did the itinerary for the bachelorette. Me and the maid of honor have been talking, the other maid of honor have been talking for months, planning, brainstorming, having FaceTimes. Really was excited. So excited for her. Showed up to the bridal shower as a surprise. So excited. Start talking wedding things. The bridal shower went great. And then at the end, I got all the bridal, what is it called? The bridesmaids together. And I'm like, hey, because nobody bought their dresses yet, which I thought was a little weird. But, we're all kind of financially struggling. So I'm like, oh, whatever. Not that big of a deal. I was like, hey, I'm going to host a party. And I'll cook dinner or lunch. And let's all get some wine. Let's go bridal dress shop or bridesmaid shopping. So we can all get the same dresses. How fun would that be? Everyone's like, yeah. Until one of the bridesmaids said, oh, she didn't tell you? I'm like, what? She didn't tell me what? She's like, I'm not in the wedding. I'm like, why? What do you mean you're not in the wedding? What's happened? She's like, she didn't tell you? I'm like, okay. She's like, me and another person dropped out, which was her partner. But he was one of the groomsmen and she was one of the bridesmaids. They both dropped out. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, do you have a second? I'm like, you got to tell me everything now because I don't know what's going on. I just drove up here. I'm just excited to be. She's like, I was excited too. What? So she pulls me aside and she said, I was so excited too. When I got the bridesmaid thing, I went and bought my dress. Everything was great. She's like, I was the first person to buy my dress. I was so excited to be there for her. And then she got a phone call of B calling off the wedding. I'm like, what? And this was like a month and a half before this bridal shower. I did not know. She called everyone but me. I had no idea this happened. She called all the bridesmaids, the maid of honor, her parents, and called off the wedding. What? Why? Because H took off again. I said, what? Then I'm doing the timelines. I was like, this was during our coaching. What do you mean he took off again? She's like, he took off for 3 days. And immediately I'm like, crack. He's still smoking crack. And then I realized all the coaching, everything was lies. He was lying. And I just figured it all out. It was just like click, 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 click. So I'm just staying calm. I'm like, okay, what happened? She said, I bought the dress. B called me, called off the wedding. I said, finally, she's leaving him. We're in support of her. I returned my dress because they have like a 72-hour return thing. Got my money back. She said I was there to support her. The other maid of honor said she was there to support her. The other bridesmaid said she was so happy she called off the wedding. I'm like, what? And then he came back. And then she took him back. And then she called her mom. She called her friends. She put the wedding back on. And I didn't even know. But this time, her friend, and this is a good friend of hers too. Her friend, I mean, gosh, they have to be friends for 10 years at least. Said no. We're not going to be there. We don't support this wedding. He's got a lot to work on, a lot to prove. It's been 11 years and he hasn't changed, so he's not going to change. And I honored her so hard for that because it's only been me that has stepped away from B's and I's relationship. Or it's only been me that has told B, hey, this is not good. Finally, somebody else stepped up to the plate. I was so proud. And I'm like, I just gave her a hug. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. And at first I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't even know, right? So I'm like, I'm just going to continue this and I'm going to see what's really going on. So the next day, we go to a dress fitting for B, and her dress is gorgeous. It's totally her fairy tale wedding dress. We go to the ceremony venue, absolutely gorgeous. Everything is just perfect. And all I can keep thinking about is what the heck is going on. So we go to dinner, and it's B and her two maid of honors, me and her other friend of 20 years or so. And I said, so would you like to tell me what actually happened? Because everybody else told me their story and you haven't even told me once. And she said, I know about his addiction. We talked about it. We had a deep conversation and we're moving forward. And I said, okay, so what's his addiction? Because if you know about it, you never admitted it to me. You never accepted it when I told you. So you tell me out of your mouth. What is it? What's his addiction? She said, he has an addiction to cocaine. I said, is that what he told you? She goes, yeah. I said, do you know the difference between coke, smoking coke, and crack? And she said, no. And she goes, why? Do you know something? I said, you already know. B, I said, you already know. So let me tell you, because they think that powder cocaine and crack cocaine are the same thing. Let me give you a little education. Powder cocaine hydrochloride, usually snorted or injected. More expensive, often seen as a party drug. Shorter, less intense high, about 15 to 30 minutes when snorted. High comes with euphoria, energy, confidence, but also paranoia, anxiety, and heart risks. Crack cocaine, free-based form of cocaine, made by processing powdered cocaine with baking soda, water, and then heating it till it forms solid rocks. Smoked, which hits the brain faster, or you can inject it. Cheaper, more addictive, intense but shorter high, 5 to 10 minutes, leading to frequently redosing. Causes faster physical and psychological deterioration, tooth decay, weight loss, paranoia, aggression, financial ruin. Much harder to hide a crack addiction than a powder cocaine use. Why crack is worse. The speed, intensity, and crash cycle makes it more addictive, destructive, and life-consuming. So all she kept saying is, they're the same thing. They're the same thing. No, they're not the same thing. They're both cocaine, yes, but crack is a highly addictive form of cocaine. It's gross. All of it's gross, but it's junky. It's literally junky. So I told her that, I said, okay. I said, I just want you to tell me right now that you're okay with marrying a liar and a drug addict. Tell me you're okay with marrying a liar and a drug addict. Because I showed up here for you, and if this is what you want, then I have to accept it. So what is it? And she said, I believe people can change. I said, 11 years? He hasn't changed. He's only gotten worse. I'm confused on what. And I believe people can change. That's all she kept saying. So I said, okay. I said, I'm going to have a talk with him tomorrow. I'm taking him out. I'm having a talk with him. She said, okay. So I left pissed. Obviously. I'm like, what the heck? She's so delusional in an illusion of lies. Still, an illusion of lies. If anybody came to me, people started dropping out of my wedding, like I would think. So I meet up with H. And immediately I could tell he's high. He's twitching, licking his lips, chain smoking cigarettes, talking about nonsense. I grew up with meth addicts. I grew up with crackheads all around me. I know the difference between crack and cocaine. I know the difference when someone's high and when someone's not high. Okay? I've been there, done that. I have never done it. But I'm saying I've been in the situations, I know. So eventually I just get fed up and I said, "You're high right now." It's like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not high right now." "You're high right now." I said, "I'm not going to stand in your wedding until you tell me the truth. So you're going to tell me everything. Or I'm not standing in your wedding." I said, "If you lie to me again, I'm done." And he kept telling me how he wasn't high. So immediately he's lying to me. I know it. And then he finally opens up and says, "I started smoking crack 3 years ago," which I knew was a lie because he was smoking crack way before that when I caught him and the other guy. And also, he's had no teeth for a long time. I know he was smoking it with his brother and dad before they were even together. I know this. I could read it right through you. I'm not stupid. So I'm letting him tell me. He said, I started smoking crack instead of cocaine because crack doesn't have fentanyl in it. And if you freebase or smoke it, then there's no chance of fentanyl being in it. Because I watched all my friends die of fentanyl around me. Because all your friends are crackheads. Just letting him tell me. And he said, "I have not been sober the last 20 months. I've been smoking it 3 to 4 times a week." And I do believe that. However, I believe it's more because, if someone's smoking it 3 to 4 times a week, they're probably smoking it every day. Not only has he not had a job for months and months and months, hasn't been able to provide anything for the family. He's been smoking crack the whole time. Lying to B for years and years and years. So much that she's now lying for him. And I said, "You really think that it's a good idea for you to go to Vegas for your bachelor party?" Because that's what they wanted to do. Him and the boys are going to Vegas. So he hasn't paid bills in months. He hasn't had a job in months. Just now bought a car off of his future wife and got a job, but is going to take off time to go to Vegas to have a last bender. He said, "This is my last bender. This is my last time of doing drugs. I am going to go to Vegas. I'm going to do drugs with the friends. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to be a married man." I said, "Didn't you say that the last time before you had your kid?" He's like, "No, this is the last time. This is the last time, Marissa. This is the last time." I'm like, "Uh-huh. Just like the last time and the last time and the last time you took off on her. Then the time before that you took off on her." I said, "So the little bit of money that you are making, you don't think you should pay for your, anything, put food on the table, but instead you're going to take it all and run off to Vegas on a crack bender with your friends?" Yep. The guy couldn't even afford his own tuxedo. His best man paid for his own tux for his wedding. He's demanding a 5-tier cake for his wedding, but hasn't paid bills, isn't paying for it, but taking the money that he is making and running to Vegas with his friends for a last crack bender. What the? So I said, "Listen, we're going to go to your house and you're going to tell everything to B. You're going to tell her everything because I'm done with this. I've always known you smoked crack. I'm done with you lying. The only way for you guys to do good, the only way for you to get help is to tell her the truth and you go to rehab." Of course, he had a million excuses for all that, but he said, "Okay." So we get to the house and the kid's there and, she made dinner. I looked in the fridge. Her fridge is completely empty. Her house is empty. Starting to look like a crack house. She looks like crap. You could tell she's just so emotionally exhausted. It just drained out of her, you can tell. Smoking so much weed just to suppress her emotions. And my little nephew's all excited to see me. And I wasn't gonna. How are you supposed to tell A is to tell B you're addicted to crack and you've been lying this whole time right in front of the kid. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I let it go. I had dinner. I just sat and realized, like, this is the life that they want. This is it. So after 3 months of coaching him, I had to face the truth. I couldn't do the work for him. I couldn't want it more than he did. And that was such a hard pill to swallow because I loved her so much and I wanted to believe that if he just tried, he could change. But then I realized it's not even about him anymore. It's about her. It's about the choices she's making, knowing exactly who he is. And as much as I wanted to fix him for her, that's not my role. My role was to see her clearly, to see that she was choosing this marriage, choosing to stay, choosing to believe in him when he had shown her over and over and over again who he was, who he is. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just enabling him, I was enabling her. By standing beside her in this wedding, I would slightly be saying that I support this. I support you marrying him. And deep down, I knew I don't. I know I don't. That's when I had to make the hardest decision. To step back. Even if it broke our hearts. I had to step back and pull out of this wedding because it's not the truth. She was enabling him. Her family's enabling her. Her friends are enabling her and him. And there's so much enabling going on. I had to step back. Here's what I learned. Enabling isn't love. Enabling is protecting someone from the consequences of their own choices. It looks like covering for them, excusing them, helping them, avoiding the truth. All because we don't want to lose them. But the truth is, enabling keeps them stuck. It makes their addiction worse, not better. Real love sometimes looks like the opposite. Real love says, I love you too much to keep pretending this is okay. I love you too much to support your destruction. That's why I had to step away. Not because I don't love her. Not because I don't love him, but because I love them both. She's the examples of enabling. She's been enabling him, giving him money, knowing that it's going to go to drugs, covering up lies, making excuses for him. Oh my gosh, she's been doing this since they started dating. Pretending things aren't okay when they're not. I mean, if you look at her, you can see how drained she is. She thinks it's love, but she's really just an illusion. She doesn't want to hurt him, but she doesn't want to leave him. Enabling just keeps them stuck. It delays the wake-up call that they need to actually get help. Enabling isn't love. Enabling is a fear disguised as love. Real love sets boundaries, even when it hurts. So that's where the power of acceptance came in. I had to accept that this is where she is. I had to accept that my friend who taught me not to lie, who taught me to be a good person, is the opposite now. She's been lying for him. She's been lying to herself. She's been lying to everyone around her, covering up for him for years. She's been enabling him, giving him money for cigarettes and drugs, all to keep him there because she knows that if he gets help, he's probably going to leave her. She knows that if he gets help, it's so sad. Because she hasn't healed any of her family trauma, she thinks that because her family was surrounded by drugs and alcohol, that she has to marry into that. That's all she knows. But look at me. My parents were meth addicts and drunks. People all around me. My sisters were pill addicts. My older sister. My younger sisters in and out of rocky relationships, taking care of 2 kids by herself. So once I realized and accepted that this is where they're at, this is who she is, this is what she wants to do, it's her life, I have to let her live it. So I wrote a loving letter. I brought Narcan and fentanyl strips to her parents' house. I sat with her parents for 3 hours. We talked. We caught up. I explained what's going on. They gave me hugs. They thanked me. They called a meeting with her the next day. Of course, she lied and made up all the stories, said I was lying, you name it. Same thing she's did for years. She decided to move forward, and they decided to keep enabling her, pay for the wedding, knowing that nobody supports it. The maid of honor, the other one of 20 years of friendship, they live in they hang out maybe once a month. She still doesn't know who H is. She says, I don't even know him. I said, well, isn't that a red flag? 20 years of friendship and you don't know who she's marrying? Yep. She knows that it's a toxic relationship. She's told her, but she doesn't listen. All the bridesmaids know it's a bad idea. They were excited when she pulled off the wedding. So one bridesmaid, one groomsman, one hairstylist, and one maid of honor all dropped out because it's not a healthy, it's a bad, very bad idea. It's not healthy. But you know what? We have to accept it, that this is her life, this is what she chooses, and sometimes you got to learn the hard way. And that was the message her mother gave me. Her mother said, sometimes we have to watch the ones we love make the wrong decisions. And I agree with that. But the difference is, you're still enabling her to make that bad decision, knowing it's a bad decision. I was enabling her by standing in the wedding or showing up. I'm done. Because I love her so much, I stepped back. I said, no more. I'm not enabling you. I'm not enabling him. You guys need to wake up. Hopefully. That's what the parents should do. That's what a real friendship does. Says, hey, I love you so much that I cannot watch you do this. It's one of the hardest decisions. I mean, as you could tell, I'm messed up about it. I'm supposed to be at the Bachelorette right now. Right now. Celebrating love and happiness and joy, but it's all lies. When I met up with the best man, he said the same thing. He's like, I tried to write my speech, and after the childhood part, it's all lies. I said, so why are you standing up in the wedding? I don't know, it's all lies. So I cannot be there. I cannot stand in all lies. I cannot sit there and fake it. I mean, that's what B's doing. She's faking her whole life. She's faking this illusion of a relationship and marriage. Sickening. But it's not my place. It's not who I am. I have to let her live her life. If this is the life she chooses, and this is what it is. And that hurt. And so I took a step back. I took a step back from all of them. I dropped out of the wedding. I messaged the bridesmaids. One of the bridesmaids, who was really close to H for a long time, told everyone, oh, I'm spreading hate. I'm not spreading hate. Okay, the truth isn't hate. If you were actually his friend, you would put his ass in rehab. You would know the truth, but you're not really his friend. You're an enabler too. And I have to accept that too. And if you want to go around saying I'm spreading hate because I'm actually the honest, truthful friend, then do it. But he knows the truth, she knows the truth, and so do you. I don't care. I don't care. I know what the truth is, and that's what I stand by. And you can make up all the things you want, just like H will, and just like B will lie, but I know the truth. And I stand by it, and it felt so freaking good standing by it. Have I been messed up emotionally? Yes. Have I been journaling and crying? Yes. But that's because an 18-year friendship of sisterhood is gone. He took that away from me. He took that away from her. He's got her so delusional that he took that angel light out of her. And all she is an enabling, covering up, delusional mess. And all I can hope is one day that she wakes up and realizes it. and leaves them, or they get help or something. I have no idea, but what I do know is that it's not my place. I accept it and I'm moving on. So if you're listening and you're in a similar place, ask yourself, am I enabling or am I loving? Where do I need to step back and stand in my truth, even if it's uncomfortable? Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no more. I love her deeply, and I always will. But sometimes love looks like letting go. And this is in the top 3 hardest things I've ever had to do. Was drop out of my friend's wedding and let her go. And the affirmation to end on is, I choose love rooted in truth, not fear. I honor myself by setting boundaries, and I trust that by standing in integrity and creating space for healing for myself and for others, I release what is not mine to carry, and I walk forward in peace. And with much love to everyone and all, have a beautiful day.